So I'm not sure what effect this is going to have, but MAGA is about to have their biggest fuck around and find out moment yet. Trump has decided that he's going to send the National Guard into 19 other states. Apparently they're going to be stationed there for about 3 months apiece, and it's to crack down on immigration and crime. But it's not just the National Guard this time. He's also talking about using active duty military forces, which is illegal because it's against the Posse Comitatus Act. Now, the funny thing is, this sounds terrifying, and in many ways it is, but this is going to negatively affect the MAGA voters in ways they've never been affected before. Because they didn't care when Trump sent the National Guard into California and Washington, D.C., because those are blue areas. That's all they care about, is owning the libs. As long as Democrats and minorities and people they don't like suffer, the Republicans enjoy it. But the states he's going to be sending them to are Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. And every single one of those, except for 2, are red states. Which means now the MAGA voters are going to have to sit there and watch the National Guard come and take over their towns and start policing them and bullying them around. They didn't care what fascist authoritarian shit Trump was doing as long as it was happening in a blue state. Now we're going to find out what happens when those bumpkins get the National Guard on their front fucking lawn. Especially since those National Guardsmen are going to be assisting ICE by collecting personal data, fingerprinting, DNA swabbing, and photographing people in custody. So over the next couple months, we're going to have to listen to a bunch of disingenuous Trump voters who are claiming, this isn't what they voted for. We can probably expect the first complaints to come from Latinos for Trump in about, 3 days.
Oh, hear me. We will not bow. We will not break. We will not bow down. We will not stand. We will resist. We will stand. And we will fight for our freedom and our communities, our rights by faith, courage, and collective power. And by the way, release the Epstein files. And with that being said, I introduce Father Michael Flager.
It was the walk-off for me. She just dropped the bomb and left. She literally just dragged Donald Trump that whole press conference. They made it clear to Donald Trump, why are you trying to send in the National Guard to fucking Chicago? And why are you trying to terrorize all these Democratic states and Democrats in general, when if you look at the highest murder rates, they're coming out of these red states? What about Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama? Why are we not sending the National Guard into these red states? Is the crime there okay, but it's not tolerable in Democratic states? Guys, it's clear that Donald Trump is trying to do what he always tries to do and intimidate Democratic voters and just Democrats in general, and it is not going to fucking work. Just like she said in this clip, we are not going to break, we are not going to bend, and we are going to fucking resist. Oh, and the most valid point that she made, where are those damn Epstein files?
I really don't think Trump realizes that the optics of him sending the National Guard to over a dozen more states is not going to go the way he wants. For example, the first place he wants to send them is Chicago. I have heard people multiple times say, don't send National Guard troops to Chicago or to Boston because they won't put up with that bullshit. But then again, of course, I don't condone any people starting any violence because that's kind of what he wants. But also, I don't even think that's necessary because when he's been sending the National Guard troops to places like California and Washington, D.C., the troops are just standing around doing nothing. This is his attempt to look like a strong leader who's being tough on crime while he's releasing triple murderers from prison. He's releasing gang leaders from prison. But his way of appearing tough on crime is to send the National Guard into all of these populated cities, have the National Guard presence there even though they're doing fucking nothing, and then he's suddenly like, look, I got rid of crime, I'm a champion of the people. It's really stupid and most people can see right through it. If you haven't noticed, most of the states that he's planning on sending the National Guard to are Republican red states. And I've said from the get-go, the one thing that is most likely to wake MAGA the fuck up is when the National Guard starts getting deployed to their cities. So this is probably in the next few months going to have some very interesting consequences.
My name is Captain Dylan Blaha, and this message is for families across America. I know that right now, many of you are scared. This morning, the president announced his plans to send the military into the streets of Chicago. He's threatened other cities as well, including New York City, Baltimore, and Oakland. Chicago continues to see historic declines in violent crime. However, this is not about crime. It's a tactic to scare working families and normalize military intervention in American cities. The solution to homelessness is not the National Guard. It's affordable housing. The solution to poverty isn't incarceration. It's investment in people. You don't solve crime by sending in the military. The American military is not trained for law enforcement. We're trained to fight our nation's wars. We're not moving towards authoritarianism. We're here. As for me, I raise my right hand to stand against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I stand with families in Chicago, across Illinois, and throughout the United States. Thank you, and stay safe.
So President Trump has now mobilized the National Guard in 19 states, sending 1,700 troops to support immigration enforcement and crime crackdowns in Democratic cities. The official line is, it's about public safety. The unofficial vibe feels more like a national tour of political theater with camo. Illinois has called it unconstitutional. Troops are now assisting with data collection, detention processing, and optics, mostly optics. When you can't pass laws, you send soldiers. And when you want to win headlines, you send 1,700 of them.
So Fox News is reporting that Trump is planning to send the National Guard to 19 states. 19 fucking states. Think about that. The excuse is they're going to go support immigration efforts by DHS. Supporting DHS is just an excuse. What this is a flex of power. Is what every dictator does. It's an internal invasion. It's a way of crushing dissent. It's what every fucking crackpot dictator does. That's exactly what he's doing. And MAGA, they don't want to see it because they think they're on the friendly side and they think it's not going to affect them. Well, let it run its course. It's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard. And when it does, it's going to be nobody to support you. It's going to be nobody to back you up. And hopefully I'll be far away laughing at your ass. But as of now, we have a problem. 19 states supported by Fox. And Fox is saying it. The odds of it being true with this government are pretty fucking high. I'm Alex. This is my rant, and I'm out.
What's going on, guys? It's me, Jeremy. It is August 24th, 2025. So I see some people sharing videos right now in places like San Francisco and other areas where they're like begging Trump to send in the National Guard because they're showing like fentanyl people on the streets like hungover in wheelchairs and stuff like that. You do not need armed National Guards to go clean up the druggies who are hung over like this, falling out of their wheelchairs or leaned up against the wall. You don't need National Guard armed in full uniform with military vehicles to go clean that shit up. That's not what this is about. Your fear is being used to distract you from what's really going on. And I believe that's a pole shift. I believe your military is being set up because your earth is about to rip itself apart. And that they are setting up these camps under the disguise of criminal activity to get ready for the emergency scenarios that are going to start popping up all over the place, like these floods that you're seeing happen all over the place, these earthquakes, these fires, okay? Fires that are being caused by sprite storms, lightning discharges, plasma discharges, okay? So you defund the police. You could have just refunded the police. You could send out freaking hospital personnel, those guys that put people in the straitjackets. You could send out those to clean up these kind of people. Those people that I'm seeing you record and you're saying, please come clean up our streets. Your normal police can do that. Yeah, those same ones that are arguing with the protesters right now and trying to hold the line against people that are just holding signs, walking up and down the street. Those same police officers that are wasting tax dollars right now, they could be right now cleaning up those people, getting them into rehab facilities or whatever lie you're going to buy, because they ain't going to no rehab facilities. The system that just told you they're done paying for other people's problems, SNAP and all that stuff, they're not all of a sudden going to go pick up all the homeless and go take them and pay for their rehab. You guys just don't put any of this together. The same administration that is cutting all of the services that help those kind of people are now going to go clean those people up off the streets and then go find them help? No, they're going to take them to private prisons. They're going to put them in places like El Salvador, or worse, in the middle of the ocean. So, you're begging for the administration to bring you the National Guard because you've got some druggies that can't even get up off the freaking wall or get up out of the wheelchair, and that's what you think the National Guard, armed National Guard, is being deployed for. Okay, guys. Right. Ever since COVID, it has been as quiet can be. You don't hear the sirens. You don't hear the crime. People can't afford to do crime. They can't even afford to get out of bed. They're just done with it. You don't see the levels of crime you did pre-COVID. I've been all over. I've been traveling. It's quiet, okay? It is quiet. There's nothing going on. The most criminal activity you see is coming out of your governments. Washington, D.C. being the #1 suspect area, okay? So, go ahead, guys. Buy into your narratives. Beg the government to bring National Guard to your cities because you will be locked up eventually just like the rest of them because you are no different. You are not a part of the 1%. You are not a part of their bloodlines. They do not care about you. My name's Jeremy. I'm out. Peace.
The troop saga continues as Donald Trump said, I probably should send troops to Chicago, Illinois. It's disgusting what's happening there. I have property there. I should probably send troops into there. And then talk shit about the governor. And then Donald Trump went on to say, Democrats should probably get smart. I really hope they don't politically, but for my love of the country, I really hope that they do, because we should send troops there to help fight the crime in Chicago, Illinois. A bunch of legislators from Chicago and a bunch of the government came out in protest on Monday and said, absolutely not. You do not need to send anyone to Chicago to fight crime. We are doing just fine on our own. Thank you very much. This is just another example of the government overreach where Donald Trump is trying to take on more positions around the country via military strength and power. This is pretty World War II-esque, I'm not going to lie to you. It's disgusting and it needs to stop. And as long as we keep the pressure on him, it shouldn't go any further, but we need to keep fighting, no matter what. Don't feel like this is over, don't feel down, just fight. Keep fighting, and that doesn't mean physically, with your voice, with your support. Share this video, go look at other content creators, share their videos. Make sure the voice of the people is getting out there. That's how we fight this now, peacefully, before it becomes something that's not peaceful. My name is Kyle Gauck, and I'm running for Congress in the 2nd District of Connecticut. If you like what I'm doing, please follow along. Please go to my website, kylegauck.com. There's a free weekly newsletter you can sign up. Comes out every Thursday. You can also sign up to donate. There's a link in there. There's also a link in my bio. We don't take corporate money. We don't take AI PAC money. We don't take Israel money. So every dollar is just you and me, grassroots. We do this together. You can also sign up to volunteer there if you're interested. And as always, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Keep fighting. I love you, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Trump is deploying the National Guard to 19 states. 19 states he is taking control over and turning the U.S. military against U.S. civilians. There is not a parade or a national announcement saying we're under an authoritarian government. But I am telling you, publicly telling you, we are under an authoritarian government. The National Guard is not designed to turn on the American people. This is absolutely sick. It is ludicrous. And here's the thing. Most of the 19 states are MAGA run. They're not Democrat states, a few, but most of them are MAGA run. So he's going to go in and say, look at all the change we've done, and lie about his statistics, because we know that's what he does. He loves to lie about statistics. Look at how amazing the streets are, so much safer. We're going to do this across the country. That is what an authoritarian government does. This is a baby step to get it numb to the people. So we're kind of numb, like, oh, it's normal to see military walking our streets with guns out. Totally fine. That's not normal, and you cannot normalize this. There are a couple of things I think you should do. One, if there's protests in your area, you're gonna have to, because like, what else are we gonna do? Be vocal, and if you can't go to protests, do this. Be vocal to people. Make sure people know, people in your family know, people on the internet know. This app is drastically going to change over the next couple weeks, and we will not be able to communicate like this. I'm 1,000,000% sure. But until then, you can. So get your voice out there. Make sure you have a valid passport that does not expire in the next 3 years. Mine expires in a year. I'm going to get that renewed immediately. Make sure you have some money so you can leave if you need to, and look at places that you can fly to where either you can get a visa easily or you can get residency easily. If you have any possibility of dual citizenship, figure that out today. Figure that out. America is not safe. Our president is turning the National Guard on our own people. This is not safe.
Hey y'all, so I'm gonna first come to y'all with some real information, right? So Trump has announced that he is deploying 1,700 more troops to 19 additional states for immigration and crime help. So the same thing he's doing in DC, what he threatened to do in Chicago, what he threatened to do in New York, he is now stating that he will be sending 1,700 more troops in 19 states that will have them in these states from August to mid-November. Okay? So, that being said, I'm going to give you guys the states. The states are Alabama, Arkansas, Florida. Yeah, you up, Florida. We up. Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. Basically, all these states have Republican governors. So, y'all Republican governors are basically going along with his BS and allowing the National Guard to come in and patrol your streets. And the crazy part about this is really completely illegal. And realistically, the National Guard members could be like, they don't have to follow unlawful orders, but they're overwhelmingly Republican, so they're just doing what they need to do, or what they want to do, I should say. However, like I said, all of these are Republican states except for New Mexico. I don't know what the fuck that governor's doing. Like, what are you doing, man? Because you are a Democratic governor. So not sure why her ass is going along with this. But what it gives me is these people who get in on one party, like Fetterman, and they're really, their vision and their morals and everything aligns with the other party. So maybe that's why New Mexico there is an outlier, because that is definitely a Democratic governor and it's a white woman, and she's allowing this to happen. But as we saw with voting, not surprised that she's doing this. But spread the word, share, like, tell people. I said I wasn't going to be posting these things on Facebook no more because y'all folks on Facebook act like y'all don't really care. Y'all don't want to repost nothing, even though the shit be affecting you. You want to be ignorant, because I guess ignorance is bliss. However, I'm going to share this on all platforms because Florida people, this affects us. Georgia people, this affects us. These are states that are, close to me. Louisiana people, affect us. And so what we going to do?
First, they came Trump version. First, they came for the immigrants, and people said, well, they shouldn't be here anyways. Then they came for the LGBTQ plus community, and people said, that doesn't affect me. Then they came for women's rights, and people said, not my body, not my fight. Then they came for protesters. And people said, well, maybe they shouldn't be stirring up so much trouble. Now they say they'll be sending troops into our cities, and they will decide who is a criminal and who is not. And if you stay silent, there will be no one left to speak up when they come for you.
It's on. It's game time. It's happening. Trump's next major step in his full authoritarian rule takeover. It's going to happen. It's in process now. He is going to activate National Guard in 19 other states, mostly red states, but some blue. And I'll go over the full list here in a second. But He is doing this, and they are going to serve under Title 32, Section 502F authority, which will allow them to work in a police enforcement, law enforcement capacity. So essentially, he's turning our National Guard into a law enforcement entity, his own personal police force. He's also threatening to send the regular military into Chicago and also New York after that. And he is not fucking around with this. We know he'll do it. He's done it in Los Angeles, and he's doing it in Washington, D.C. right now. And his reasoning for doing all this is to combat crime. There's like a pandemic of crime, and it's out of control, and he's going to make our cities safe. Now, they haven't said what cities they're going to go to yet, but here is the list of states. Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. If you are in one of those states, buckle up. The Trump authoritarian train is coming in. They're saying Texas will have the most National Guard activated, but they're also going to use the Guard to enforce immigration and assist with ICE. Now, the Virginia National Guard has said they are going to activate 60 soldiers to assist with logistics and administrative support to immigration and customs enforcement. Now, the Virginia National Guard, contrary to what Trump is saying, says they will not conduct law enforcement operations and will not be making any arrests. Their plan is to mobilize up to 1,700 National Guard across these 19 states. So guys, this is the next small step to a much bigger plan. This is unprecedented and needs to be met with an unprecedented response. It's time to get up and make your voice heard. Rise up, resist, let everyone know in the government and the Trump administration that you are not okay with this. We will not live in a militarized zone in our cities. We will not live in a police state. Let me know.
Just in, Trump is going to deploy the National Guard to 19 states, not just to blue cities or whatever the fuck. He's going to deploy them to 19 states. And most of the 19 states are like solidly red states. Oh, I guess they're after me. The obvious question that people would have is, why would he deploy National Guard to red states? Wouldn't that actually freak the people out there? To which I would reply, good question. But I don't think that that's really all that much of a concern for him. Trump very clearly knows that he's going to get the least pushback on having National Guards people in the major metro areas of red states than he would if he did this in, you know, Chicago or Detroit or something. So he wants to do it there because now he can have his big show of, you know, policing, you know, the crime problem in America's cities or whatever. He's not going to have anybody who's really going to show up and, you know, push him out. And if he wants to keep them there in case there ever is some kind of popular insurrection or a popular uprising against Trump, well, he already has deployed them there. So it's a win-win-win for him as far as he's concerned. And I would go so far, although I'm sure people are going to call me a scaremonger on here, I would go so far as to say that this is kind of like soft martial law. And here we are, I guess.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.